There was a time when Israel had no king, and the people did what was right in their own eyes. But their choices led to oppression. For 40 years, the Philistines ruled over them with cruelty. Hope had dried up like the wells in their land. In a small village far from the noise of war, lived a man named Manoah and his wife. They were faithful, but childless. Year after year they prayed, and then an angel appeared. "You are barren, but you will conceive and give birth to a son. No razor shall touch his head, for he will be a Nazirite, set apart to God from the womb. He will begin to deliver Israel from the Philistines." She ran to her husband, and together they received the message again from the same angel, who after speaking vanished in flame before their eyes. The screen glows as the pregnancy begins. The woman smiles as she holds her belly, and so the child was born. They named him Samson, which means sun-like, a name that would soon burn through the land with fame and fear. Samson grows taller, stronger, wilder. The Spirit of the Lord begins to stir in him. From his youth, Samson was different. His hair grew long, never cut, his appetite for adventure unmatched. But what made him truly extraordinary was the Spirit of God that moved within him. He wasn't just strong, he was unstoppable. One day, as Samson traveled toward the vineyards of Timnah, a lion leaped out at him, but he didn't flinch. With no weapon in hand, he seized the beast and tore it apart like a goat. He said nothing of it, but something had awakened. Then he saw her, a woman of Timnah, a Philistine. Against his parents' pleading, Samson wanted her, not for politics, not for strategy, but because she pleased his eyes. "Is there no woman among our own people that you must go to the Philistines?" his father asked. Samson replied calmly, "She is the one. Get her for me." They didn't know the Lord was working through even this choice, for God would use Samson's personal desires to confront Israel's enemy head-on. Later, as Samson passed by the spot where he slew the lion, he saw something strange, a swarm of bees and honey inside the carcass. He ate it and brought some to his parents, saying nothing of where it came from, for even Samson's victories were wrapped in riddles. At the wedding feast, surrounded by Philistine companions, Samson proposed a challenge. "Let me pose a riddle. Solve it in 7 days and I'll give you 30 linen garments. Fail, and you'll give me 30. Out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. They couldn't solve it. But instead of accepting defeat, the Philistines threatened Samson's new bride. "Trick him, or we'll burn you and your family." His wife sobbed. Samson gave in. The riddle was answered. Fuming, he said, "If you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle." And in his rage, he went to another Philistine town and struck down 30 men to settle the bet. This was not just personal, it was the beginning of war. When Samson cooled down, he returned to see his bride. But what he found would turn rage into destruction. "I thought you hated her, so I gave her to your best man. But her younger sister is even more beautiful. Take her instead," her father said nervously. Samson's jaw tightened, his fist clenched, and for the first time he didn't walk away. That night, Samson caught 300 foxes, tied torches between each pair, and released them into the Philistines' fields. Grain, vineyards, olive trees, gone. Their economy reduced to ash. "Who did this?" the Philistines asked. "Samson, the man whose wife was given away. And in retaliation, they burned her, and her father too." Samson retaliated again, defeating many. Then he hid in a cave. The Philistines invaded Judah looking for him. "Don't you know they rule over us? Why are you bringing trouble?" the men of Judah pleaded. "Swear to me you won't kill me yourselves," Samson said. "We will only tie you up and deliver you to them," they replied. They brought him bound in ropes. The Philistines cheered. The moment he reached them, the Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him. The ropes melted like burnt flax. Nearby, the jawbone of a donkey. In slow motion, Samson grabbed the jawbone. He swung with power, dust, shouting, chaos, with nothing but the jawbone of a donkey. Samson overcame 1,000 men. Panting, he said, "With the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, I have struck down 1,000." After the battle, thirsty and near collapse, Samson cried out, "You gave me this great victory. Now must I die of thirst and fall into enemy hands?" And God split the hollow ground. Water flowed, Samson drank, and his strength returned. So the place was named En-Hakkore, the caller's spring. But this was only the beginning of his battles, and the beginning of his breaking. Samson had judged Israel for 20 years. He fought, he ruled, he punished the Philistines without mercy. But strength on the battlefield doesn't always guard the heart. And in the valley of Sorek, Samson met his downfall, not in battle, but in love. Delilah, beautiful, confident, mysterious. Samson was disarmed, enchanted. Delilah wasn't just beautiful, she was strategic, and the Philistine lords knew it. "Entice him, find out the secret of his strength. We will each give you 1,100 silver coins," they whispered. For wealth, she agreed, but for Samson, it felt like love. She began her probing. She laid her head on his chest. "Tell me, Samson, what makes you so strong? How could anyone bind you?" Samson smirked. "If I were tied with 7 fresh bowstrings, I'd be as weak as any other man." That night, she did just that. The Philistines waited in hiding. "Samson, the Philistines are upon you," she shouted. He snapped the cords with ease. She frowned but tried again. Round 2, then 3. Each time Samson gave a false secret. Each time Delilah failed and grew angrier. Tears in her eyes, she cried, "How can you say you love me when your heart is not with me?" Day after day, as she pressed him, with tears, with touch, with guilt, and finally, Samson broke. The room was dim. Samson lay in her lap, eyes heavy with trust. "No razor has touched my head. I was dedicated to God from birth. If my hair is cut, my strength will leave me." That night, while Samson slept in her lap, Delilah signaled the Philistines. A man came in quietly and shaved off the 7 locks of his hair. She shouted once more, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He awoke and stood, but something was different. The Spirit of the Lord had left him, and he did not even know. He tried to move as before, but he was overpowered. They seized him, blinded him, chained him, the strongest man in Israel. Now blind, in chains, in shame. They paraded him through Gaza, once feared, now mocked. The man who burned their fields, broke their warriors, and humiliated their gods, now pushed a millstone in circles, blind, broken, forgotten. But hair grows, and so does the heart of a man who remembers his calling. In the temple of Dagon, thousands gathered, lords, nobles, spectators. "Bring out Samson! Let him entertain us!" they shouted. They led him by hand, Israel's strongest man reduced to a spectacle. He stood beneath 2 great pillars. A young servant boy guided him. "Place my hands on the pillars that hold the temple," Samson whispered. And in that moment, Samson did not ask for vengeance. He asked for purpose. Eyes closed, head bowed, a prayer, soft and sincere. "O Lord God, remember me. Strengthen me just once more, that with one act I may pay back the Philistines for what they've done." He pushed. The pillars groaned. The floor trembled. The laughter stopped. Cracks spread across the ceiling. Panic erupted. The structure collapsed in a thunderous roar. Dust, screams, silence, and the temple fell, with lords, princes, and Samson himself beneath it. In his death, he struck down more than he ever did in life. The dust settled. Israelites came quietly to collect his body. He was buried in his father's tomb. His victories were messy, his failures devastating. But God had not abandoned him. Even in his lowest moment, Samson remembered the one who gave him strength. Samson's life was not perfect. It was real. And through it, we're reminded, strength without obedience is dangerous. But even the fallen can rise again when they call upon the Lord. Samson's story is not just about muscle, it's about mission. He was chosen, set apart, gifted beyond measure. But he struggled with pride, impulse, and desire. Flaws we all recognize. And yet, his name still stands among the heroes of faith. You see, God can use even the broken, even the stubborn, even the fallen, because grace doesn't wait for perfection, it answers humility. You may not be the strongest, but like Samson, you were born for a purpose. And when you surrender your strength to God, nothing is impossible. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to drop a comment, like, and share.